On the 620th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. In Donetsk front, battles were reported taking place near Avdiivka, Marinka and Novomikhailivka. In Avdiivka sector, many sources on both sides reported that as a result of the frequent Ukrainian counterattacks, the Russian advance on the northern part of the front line has been stopped, with the Ukrainian forces managing to drive the Russian forces out of some positions near Stepove and Krasnohorivka. Yesterday, the Russian source Rybar confirmed the reports about the Ukrainian forces regaining ground north of Krasnohorivka. Seeing the threat of the constant Ukrainian raids on their northern flank, the Russian forces went on the offensive and launched a series of attacks towards Novokalinove and captured some positions in this direction. Geolocated footage showed the Ukrainian drones destroying a large pile of anti-tank mines near Krasnohorivka, which indicates that the Russian forces were probably preparing to establish a defensive line along the newly achieved positions. However, as sources on both sides confirm, the Ukrainian forces launched a powerful counterattack and were able to gain all the previously lost positions, forcing the Russian troops to fall back behind the railway line. Today, it was confirmed that the Ukrainian defenders also maintained the control over the positions across the railway northeast of Stepove. During the past few days, pro-Russian sources have claimed that the Russian army was able to break through the Ukrainian defenses northeast of Stepove, and clashes were reported taking place inside the village. However, on geolocated footage published today by Russian sources, it seems that in reality, in this direction the Russian offensive remains stuck near the field of death east of Krasnohorivka. On the footage, 2 Russian tanks are seen moving through the graveyards of the previously lost Russian equipment and attacking the Ukrainian positions on the 3 lines east of the railway, confirming that Ukrainian forces still hold this area under their control despite the numerous attempts of the Russian armored units to cross the railway. A little further south, Russian and Ukrainian forces clashed near the forest lines between the Terikon and the chemical plant. Using FPV drones and artillery fire, the Ukrainian forces inflicted heavy casualties on the Russian infantry forces, who again failed to enter the northern part of Avdiivka. Ukrainian sources posted several videos showing the Ukrainian soldiers moving freely inside the territory of the chemical plant, confirming that after almost a month of heavy clashes, Ukrainians maintain full control over this key area. Russian forces still hold their positions on top of the Terikon, but recent geolocated footage shows that the Russian presence here remains limited to only a few soldiers who try to survive the Ukrainian artillery and drone strikes by taking cover on some foxholes that are built on top of the hill. As previously reported, Russians are still struggling to use this position to back their offensive operations towards Avdiivka. On the southern part of the front, clashes continue with a lower intensity. Russian forces resumed their offensive operations south of Avdiivka, where in attempts to recover their lost positions near the railway, Russians deployed their powerful BMP-T Terminator combat vehicle, but it seems that only a few days after the Russian Wonderweapon was first spotted south of Avdiivka, it was eventually destroyed by Ukrainian forces using FPV drones. In Kherson front, Ukrainian forces continue to hold their positions across the Dnipro river, and during the last 48 hours, geolocated footage confirms that the Ukrainian soldiers have expanded their area of control in the direction of Krinky and Pidstepne. Yesterday, the Russian source Rybar reported that it is very difficult for the Russian forces to push the Ukrainian Marines out of the bridgehead in Krinky, because now they have established a solid supply line through the Frolov Island from the right bank of the river. After Ukrainian forces ambushed a unit of Russian infantry forces that tried to enter inside the Ukrainian control areas in Krinky, some Russian sources suggest that the Ukrainian forces might also have a presence inside the forests south of the village, as according to them, the Russian unit was ambushed by the Ukrainian machine gun and sniper units that were operating from inside the forests. Geolocated footage published today by Russian sources suggests that with the help of artillery and drone units from the right bank of the Dnipro river, Ukrainian forces were also able to solidify and expand their bridgehead near the village of Pidstepne, as Ukrainian soldiers were able to take control over a trench line north of the Russian-controlled village. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.